Have you ever felt stuck in your life and wished that things were different? In this video, I want to speak about an issue that I've come across with my clients in the past, which is the willingness to change and what it takes to bring about the change that you're looking for in your life. Before we get into it, I'm Desh, I'm a qualified counsellor, and it is my mission to support you in enhancing your self-awareness so you can make the changes that are going to bring you greater joy and a greater experience of life. And in this video, I want to focus on the willingness to change and what it means to make changes. One thing that I've come to know in my experience as a counsellor and seeing many clients is that the desire to change in itself is not enough. There are many situations that clients have come to me to say, I want this to be different. I want to have a happier experience of my life. I want a better relationship. There's been many things that clients come to me with wanting changes for. And the one ingredient that I've noticed across all of my clients is whether there is the desire for change and the willingness to change. They are not the same thing. You can think of the desire to change as your dreams and your wishes, what you imagine the future being for yourself and what kind of life you imagine for yourself. So you can think of that as the goal. So the goal is at the very top. That's where you want to reach. But you cannot just have the goal by itself without an action plan, without things that you're doing differently in order to meet those goals. Because you may have goals and desires and wishes. However, if your behaviors, your patterns, your relationships, your experience of life, if it all remains the same, then how are you going to meet that goal if you're not doing anything differently? This is where willingness to change happens. And the one core ingredient that is absolutely vital when it comes to being willing to change is open-mindedness. Open-mindedness acts as the foundation for self-awareness. You cannot be self-aware without being open-minded, because you have to be willing to sit with any uncomfortable emotions you have and interrogate it and examine, why am I having these particular emotions? Why am I thinking these particular thoughts? Where are they coming from? Is it something that I've generated that's important for me, or is it as a result of me being conditioned by other people? So you can see how developing your self-awareness requires being open-minded, being willing to see where thoughts are coming from and not having a predetermined narrative as to what thoughts you're having and why you're having them. You need to be willing to sit with feedback. You need to be willing to be challenged, and you need to be willing to sit with your emotions no matter how uncomfortable they are. So it requires a willingness. Once you have the willingness to change and you're willing to sit with your emotions and whatever it requires to make that change happen, and you can also think of it in the context of relationships. If you want to change your relationship, the next step is to connect it to action. What actions do I need to put in place in order to make the changes that I need to in order to reach my goal? So if you think about a relationship, and many relationship experts have spoken about this, that the one mistake people make in relationships is they think they can change the other person. If I just hang around longer, I know they can change. So you're looking at what someone's potential is for change, but you are waiting for them to change, and you cannot make anyone change. It has to come from them. So you may have a desire for that other person to change. They may have a desire to be different, but the desire in itself, if you've noticed, is not enough. What are you doing to make the change happen? So action is linked with discipline, of course, but it's also linked with willingness. So wanting something is not the same as being willing to go and make it happen. So you can see the theme here is you need a mindset shift. Okay, so you have your goal, but then you need to backwards engineer what different steps and actions and things do I need to do in order to make that goal happen. And now it comes down to habits. Because at the end of the day, we can have goals and desires, but none of that is going to matter unless we have habits to make those things happen. So you need to look at what things am I doing now and what habits do I have now that's not serving me, and what habits do I need to adopt that's going to help me get there. So this is where you can read books, you can watch videos, podcasts, basically go to the experts in those fields that know what things you need to do in order to get to the goal you want. This is where personal development comes in, self-improvement comes in, and this is why it's so crucial and something that counseling can certainly help with as well. So if you have a desire for change, but you feel stuck, you just find it really hard to get going, there may be a couple of things going on. First of all, is the fear of the unknown or the comfort of where you are. You may not be entirely happy with your life at the moment because you want some changes, but you can still be comfortable with it. You may still be comfortable with your life even if you're not happy because it's familiar. And familiarity is something that we all seek for and crave for. We feel safe. We feel comforted. We feel that we know what's coming up next. There's going to be no surprises. Especially if you've experienced pain in your life before, you want to avoid that. So knowing what's coming next can be very comforting, and it can be very hard to escape from that and step out of our comfort zone. But it's by stepping out of our comfort zone where those changes happen. That's where willingness comes in, to be able to step outside your comfort zone. Another aspect is embracing failure, embracing mistakes. Because in any change, in any pursuit of growth, there's going to be step backs, there's going to be humps in the road, and you're going to make mistakes. You're not going to get it right every time, but you don't need to get it right every time. This is the point. You are able to use mistakes as an opportunity to learn, to show self-compassion and move forward. And it is the moving forward that enables growth. I have to share one of my favorite quotes from Rocky VI, where he says, "You, me, or no one is going to hit as hard as life, but it's not about how hard you hit. In this case, how well you do. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How many mistakes you can make, how much failure you have in your life, and despite that, keep moving forward, because eventually you will learn from those mistakes, you will adapt your strategy, you will develop new habits, and if you keep persisting, you cannot fail. It is impossible. So don't be discouraged if you feel stuck. Don't see yourself as a failure. It is simply a natural part of the process that can get you to a place of knowing, what do I need to do next? Where do I need to go? So it's about adopting that mindset of being intelligent, not even about being positive. It's about being intelligent, smart, utilizing your resources of discipline, willingness, being open to the positives of life and the negatives of life. Be open to explore those aspects of yourself you may not like, and those are the areas you may well want to change. Be open-minded, have the desire, but also be willing to make those changes and connect them to action. Comment below what changes you want to make in your life, whether it's physical, whether it's mental, whether it's your habits. I really want to hear about it. I'm going through that journey myself. There's a lot of things that I'm reflecting on that I want to make sure I can do differently and just do better. Please like and subscribe. There's going to be more content coming out soon.